Building sustainable, innovative and creative cities, one brick at a time. And this will be under discussion at the 2023 BRICS Urbanization Forum in Durban. It comes ahead of the BRICS Heads of State Summit next month. And the summit is themed Urban Resilience for Sustainable Urban Development. eNCA reporter Lethiwe Mdluli joins us from the Chief Lethiwe International Durban Convention Centre. Lethiwe, good morning again to you. I take it that delegates are now trickling in, taking in their positions, and that the ground rules and all of that housekeeping will be taken care of. What can we anticipate later in terms of plenary sessions, what the discussion points will be as well? All right, we'll come back to Lethiwe there. We just need to repatch her line, but we can see live visuals there of the proceedings in earnest. And Lethiwe, I believe you're back with us. Good morning to you. I guess delegates have now settled down, and it looks like proceedings are meant to start in earnest. Good morning.
Still fine there?
If you can hear me. Morning, Lethiwe. So we're there at
Cindy, we're still at the Durban ICC. Yes, Cindy, I can hear you. We're still at the Durban ICC this morning, just basically talking to some of the delegates that are going to be taking part in this forum. Right now, I'm joined by Ms. Sajai. I want to bring her in just to talk about how our cities can improve or what they've been seeing themselves on what needs to be improved. Thank you so much for joining us at eNCA. I mean, this forum takes place just before the BRICS Summit in August. But take me through, what do you do in terms of your job, basically analyzing what South African cities need to improve on?
Well, Lethiwe, the South African Cities Network is a voluntary organization, meaning that our metropolitan municipalities joined the Cities Network out of the need of having a differentiated approach to the challenges that municipalities face. You'd agree that most of the people in our country reside in cities, and therefore we couldn't understand why we should be doing similar research that you do for smaller municipalities than you would do for metropolitan municipalities, and advocating for similar things. So these metros clubbed together, then they said, let's form this organization which will look specifically on matters of cities, particularly in light of urbanization, urban resilience, economic growth, and those. So we help with advocacy, forming partnerships between cities and other organizations, and most importantly, making sure that the voice of the cities is always there out there.
Yeah. You know, we've been looking at how our big cities here in South Africa are affected by urban decay. We were speaking with the minister a bit earlier on about the city of Johannesburg, which has had quite a numerous number of, or quite a high number of explosions recently. Also, where we are here in Durban, we've had about 3 flood disasters in a space of a year, and the response from our governments doesn't seem to be as quick. Some of the talking points from this forum is that we're going to be trying to discuss those issues that cities are facing. What would you say needs to improve with our big cities?
I think, Lethiwe, the first thing is for us to understand why are cities facing so many disasters, at the frequency that they are having them, and the intensity that they are having them. And then it would be easier for us to then say, are cities really responding adequately? One of the challenges, or one of the reasons, contributors to these disasters that we're seeing is climate change, which we all talk about. So whatever happens in all the other countries, be they on the north of the hemisphere or our counterparts in the south, contributes to climate change, and that's why you find them happening ever so frequently, and their intensity is the way they are. But number 2, it's also how cities are built, and cities are not built over a decade. They're built over time. So the history of the cities and how city urban management has taken place over time contributes to that. I mean, you talk about floods. We have experienced in some situations where settlements were built, but infrastructure in terms of stormwater drainage has not been provided or has not been upgraded to match up with the growing population in those areas. And these are the things that, when they are not in place, exacerbates the disasters, or at least the impact of the disasters in these areas. I mean, you made the point about eThekwini. But I don't think we can end this conversation without talking about the capacity or the capability of our cities to respond to disasters. The cities are doing their best to make sure that they meet the minimum requirements or standards when it comes to response personnel, the infrastructure, and those things. But at the heart of this is that we need to make sure that we just minimize the chance of the disaster taking place at the first place, and you minimize that by making sure that you don't point fingers at the city. You say, what could potentially lead to this? Litter is one of the big problems when it comes to flooding, and this is an individual responsibility, it's a business responsibility, so all of us can play our part when it comes to this.
Yeah. And just quickly, there's going to be countries such as China that are going to be here just basically taking part in this conversation. What can we learn from those kind of countries, because they are dealing with the same that we're dealing with, some of the issues that we're dealing with, but they seem to be handling it quite better than us in South Africa?
I had a conversation with one of the colleagues yesterday, and I said for the longest time at school we were taught that South Africa is not prone to natural disasters. The countries that you are mentioning, China in particular, is known to have had these natural disasters over time. So meaning that over time they've built resilience. They know how to respond because these things have happened to them. Unfortunately for us, we are new to this, but what it means is that we do need to form partnerships, and partnerships need to start happening locally. Partnerships between city government and business, academia, who sit with a wealth of knowledge on how things can be done. Business has got capabilities as well of assisting in times of disaster, but your local communities and NGOs who are also very much able to assist. The second layer of assistance or collaboration that is needed is at a global level. So if China is doing well, this conference is supposed to assist us to say, where is China doing well, where is India doing well, and other countries, and how can we leverage over each other's capabilities to make sure that when there are disasters, we are able to meet them at the rate that they are coming to us.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, Cindy, that is Unosipho Hlajwayo, and just basically taking us through some of the things that they're going to be discussing here at the BRICS Urbanization Forum. We do know that delegates will be discussing some of the things that will be discussed at the upcoming BRICS Summit in August, and some of those things include what can be done to assist global cities in improving some of the issues that they are facing right now.
Lethiwe Mdluli, thank you so much. Coming to us from the Chief Lethiwe International Convention Centre in eThekwini, as proceedings are underway for the BRICS Urbanization Forum, and we'll bring you details as that commences, and there's more to report back.